All right, let's get right into it. We're gonna travel back in time, way back, before safety goggles were a thing, before there were any ethics boards, a time when the most crucial piece of lab equipment, it was basically just pure, unadulterated, reckless confidence. So let's start with you, right here, right now. Have you ever stopped to think about the odds of you actually existing? I mean, they're astronomical. It's basically a miracle. Let's do a quick rewind, and I'll show you exactly why. Okay, let's go back. There's your dad, and his dad before him. You see where this is going, right? It's this long, unbroken chain of survival stories, where every single link had to hold perfectly for you to even be a possibility. All right, let's kick this into high gear. Whoosh, we're flying right past the era of powdered wigs. Past knights and chainmail, past castles, all the way back past the Ice Age, past giant woolly mammoths. And stop, we land right here, with this guy, squatting in the dirt, just casually munching on a beetle. Yep, that's your ancestor. And think about this, if he tripped at just the wrong second, or, gotten eaten by something with big, sharp teeth, poof, you wouldn't be here. Your entire existence is built on a pile of 1,000 chaotic, violent coincidences. Now, what's so wild is that for a huge chunk of history, the very scientists shaping our world, they had the exact same survival instincts as your beetle-eating relative, which is to say, pretty much none. These folks were chaotic geniuses, They'd answer life's biggest questions by doing things like strapping themselves to homemade rockets or, casually drinking poison. So that's what we're doing today. We are counting down the absolute most dangerous, most insane ways anyone has ever tried to test a theory. Get ready, because these are the most reckless science experiments in history. All right, kicking things off, coming in at number 3. So, at number 3, we have a group I like to call the gravity gamblers. These were the very first pioneers of aviation. The kind of guys who'd look up at a bird soaring in the sky and think, hey, I can do that, but completely skipped the follow-up question, wait, should I? And yeah, this really sums it up. Their core belief system was basically that physics was, more of a suggestion. Gravity? For these guys, gravity was just like your opinion, man. And their scientific method, oh man, the plan was shockingly simple. Step 1, sew yourself into some kind of wacky canvas suit. Step 2, climb something really, really tall, like the Eiffel Tower. And step 3, just jump. No test dummies, no safety nets, nothing. Just an ocean of misplaced confidence and, well, you can guess what happened next. It was almost always a very, very unfortunate splat. Okay, if you thought that was bad, let's move on to number 2. Believe it or not, this one gets even more personal and a whole lot more dangerous. At number 2, get ready for the pathogen partiers. Yeah, these were actual scientists who looked at deadly diseases and decided the absolute best way to understand them was to drink them. So to really get how insane this is, let's think about the bubonic plague for a second. Back then, medieval doctors thought the best way to fight it was to wear those super creepy bird masks stuffed with flowers, right? It was basically trying to vibe check a biological wildfire. Spoiler, it did not work. But hey, at least they weren't, inviting the plague over for cocktails. Fast forward to the 19th century and scientists had, quote-unquote, improved on this method. To prove their theories about diseases like cholera, they just skipped all the logical steps. No animal testing, no simulations. Nope, they went straight to the main event, drinking a nice big glass of it. They literally used their own guts as living petri dishes, voluntarily giving themselves these awful, agonizing illnesses, all in the name of science. And that brings us to our number 1 spot. The absolute most reckless, the most jaw-droppingly terrifying experiment in the history of science. Finally, at number 1, we have the atomic daredevils. These were the brilliant minds who discovered radiation and had absolutely no clue that what they were holding in their hands was basically a one-way ticket to an early grave. The main culprit here, an element called radium. When they first found it, it was incredible, this magical, glowing substance. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly know, was that they had just discovered an invisible, silent death machine. And here's the key thing. There were 0 safety protocols. None. They treated this stuff like a cool new toy.
Researchers would just carry vials of pure radium around in their pockets. They'd handle these radioactive elements with their bare hands. They would even watch, with a kind of morbid scientific fascination, as their own skin started to blister and peel away from the exposure.
They had no idea, but they were absorbing lethal doses of radiation straight into their blood, into their organs. They were basically sentencing themselves to this slow, agonizing mutilation from the inside out. The very thing they discovered was silently destroying their bodies, atom by atom. So, okay, what's the lesson here? What's the point of looking back at this whole parade of creative self-destruction?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. The next time you see a safety label on a bottle of cleaner and you think it's annoying, or you have to put on safety goggles in a lab and you roll your eyes, just take a second. And maybe, just maybe, thank the brave and, let's be honest, incredibly foolish geniuses who literally had to drink poison or melt their own skin off just so you wouldn't have to.
Because when you really think about it, you are the miracle. You're what your ancestors fought mammoths and survived plagues for. All of that insane struggle, all that improbable survival, it all led to you. So, don't trip.